Hello everyone, Vlad here. Today I'm going to be doing some bridge building techniques so you can have some more dynamic looking bridges instead of it just looking like some floating blocks coming across the water. So let's jump on in. Alright, so here we are. I have prepared this building space just to show some techniques, and I have this bridge that goes all the way across, and I've just alternated the foundation pieces that I use to get across the water to start things off with different colors just so it's easier to see. And I have this secondary platform that I started just so I have a way of getting to the edge and snapping some pieces in. Now the first thing I want to show you is how to do some pylons that look like they are supporting it, and I'll show you this twice just so you can see how you can get it to different heights. So I'm going to place, I want the spacing in between these two foundations, so that's why I just use the different colors. Now I can clearly see where one starts and the next begins, and I've placed one single block right up to the edge, and then on this one, two of them stacked on top of each other. Now what that did is give me some snap points that I can now take this column and snap it to the side of there. I can also do that here. I'm going to snap it to the top of this one. Okay, and then now I'm going to use the snap mechanics of the game to get some pieces underneath here. So I'm going to point my cursor at the very bottom of this pillar that I placed. I'm going to hold down my left trigger here on Xbox. It's going to be noted on your screen no matter what system you're playing on. So hold down that trigger if you're on Xbox, whatever the key is on your other consoles, and it should snap to the bottom of this pillar as long as your cursor is in the right place. Again, that cursor should be at the very bottom piece of the one that we placed above it. And same thing here, get that in place. And now I can come in with my pickaxe and get rid of all the scaffolding we used to get the snap points. And what we'll be left with are our pillars. And we have two different heights here based off where we used that initial snap point. I got one that is level with my bridge, and I've got one that is slightly above it. Whatever your preferred look is, but you can use that technique to get these in place. Alright, so let's get into something a little more complicated, but not terribly complicated. What if we want to snap some walls underneath here? Maybe you have some nice archways or something like that where you want to make it look like it's supported from underneath. So let's go ahead and break this foundation here so I have some space between the two, in between the bridge here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my walls, and I'm going to grab any side of single column piece. I'm going to choose this white one just so that it's got more contrast. You can see what I'm doing with it. And I'm going to come over to this first foundation, and I'm going to point my cursor at the edge, and I'm going to get it to, I'm not pressing the snap mechanic on it at this point. I'm just kind of letting the game do its own thing. Now, something I want to point out is it's very important that this be lined with the bottom of the foundation that we are using to as a snap point to it. If I move my cursor, you'll notice that it seems to jump up in little tiny steps. And so we need to make sure that it is at the very bottom, because if we don't put it at the very bottom, when we try and snap a foundation back over the top of this later, it's going to tell us that things are intersecting. So we need to make sure that the wall that we're going to place underneath this is just going to be at the right height. So I'm going to place this here now that I think I've got it in the right place. I'm going to go over and choose a wall to put underneath it. I'm going to choose this one because it looks kind of like pylons kind of stuck together. And I'm going to use the same snapping mechanics to get this to go underneath here. So I'm going to put my cursor at the very bottom of this column that we placed. Then I'm going to hold down my trigger for the snapping. And it has snapped underneath this column. It's also kind of underneath that foundation that I have over there. So I'm going to use my nudge mechanic to bring this out to where the very edge of it is in line with that column I placed. And then I'm just going to use the place build option to put that wall down. And then now I can come over here, I can break this column. I can repeat that on the other side so that my bridge has symmetry. But the good news is we don't have to do that for every wall we want to place underneath here. We can now use this wall that we used put in place as a snap point for further walls. And so I can keep on building my bridge out without having to do anything crazy. Now, obviously, if the water gets really deep, eventually these things aren't going to sneak down into the ground. But, you know, since we can't really go diving inside of the game yet, no one's going to be able to really tell or be able to fix that part of it at the moment. So we will put our foundation back just to make sure this one is at the correct height. And there we go. Now, one other thing I want to show is, like, maybe you wanted to look like these pylons were coming up through the bridge. And for that, I'm actually going to switch over to my furniture and go over to the chairs. And I'm going to pick up this round stool, and I'm actually going to place it here in line with the walls underneath. And now it looks like this wall is continuing with some of the pylons coming up through the bridge, and it looks like it's adding extra support. So you can kind of do certain things like that to dynamically make your bridge look supported. And yeah, so this will work for any set of walls. You can get creative with maybe some different sort of furniture, different build pieces. Remember, this is Lego, and even though they're giving you a build menu and they're saying, hey, this is a chair, this is a whatever piece, remember that this is Lego, and so we use the same little blocks to make all kinds of different things. So get creative, use those extra pieces to come up with something new, a unique use for it that is beyond whatever is labeled inside the game. That'll help you out quite a bit, and use those snapping mechanics to help you get some things in place that otherwise would be quite a challenge because it just wants to place them on top of the terrain. So that's going to do it for me today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helps you out with your bridge building and making some dynamic looking bridges in your build world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest content from Vlad Administrator Gaming. Until next time, happy building.